Hey everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to do the mid-year book figure tag. I have done this last year as well, so I thought it would be fun to do it again this year. So I do have the questions probably as the chapters, so if you're interested in something in particular, you can go and jump ahead and yeah, let's go into the questions. So the first question is the best book you've read so far in 2022, and I think for that I'm gonna go with Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. This is a historical fiction book about a Korean family that is mainly living in Japan, and it focuses on this very difficult life that Koreans had in Japan before and after the Second World War. There's also a family drama, so we see a lot of the dynamics between the children, the parents, the grandparents, siblings and stuff like that. And I thought it was absolutely fantastic, touched on so many important themes, and I gave it 5 stars, obviously. The next question is the best sequel you've read so far in 2022, and I will change that to the best series. And that is the Broken Earth trilogy. So I've read all 3 books in the first quarter of 2022 and I absolutely loved it. I think that this is probably one of the best series I've read in my whole life. There's only Lord of the Rings that is even better than this to me, but yeah, this is honestly so good, and I have been sleeping on these for a long time, but finally, I've read them and they're great, and I hope you go and read them too if you haven't already. Now, this follows a world where we have a certain class of people, or like type of people, who can manipulate the earth. So they can do earthquakes, they can stop earthquakes, they can make volcanoes erupt and stuff like that. And in this world that we're following, these people are oppressed very harshly, and they are basically killed, or they're sent to this very specific school where they're taught to be helpful to the other people. But just because of the fear that exists, these people are, yeah, just very oppressed. And we follow this story at the end of the world. So something really bad has just happened and the world is gonna end. The next question is a new release you haven't read yet, but want to. And I have 3 that I'm really excited about to hopefully read in the second half of 2022. And the top of the list is Siren by Nghi. I'm so excited for this book. I read The Chosen and the Beautiful, is that how it's called? Last year, the Gatsby retelling, and I absolutely loved it. It's so good. So I think Siren Queen might be, yeah, just as good, or maybe even better, we'll see. But I'm very excited to get to it. And this is a kind of like a magical realism, so it is like historical fiction, but there is some magic in this world, and that's why a lot of people don't like it too much. And it follows an Asian woman who wants to make it in Hollywood. So yeah, it looks fantastic. Then we have the Book of Lost Cases, I believe, by Simone and James, and she has written The Sundown Motel, which I listened to 2 years ago and absolutely loved. So I hope that the Book of Lost Cases will be just as good. It is, I think, a thriller horror novel with hopefully a feminist twist. At least that is what The Sundown Motel was, and I'm pretty sure that they follow in the same way. And the last one is Extasia. I think this one is by Legrand. And I have read Zorko Girls by her and really love that. So I am intrigued to see what Extasia is, but it looks like a YA horror. So I hope I will like it, because that's a genre I usually really enjoy. The next question is most anticipated release for the second half of the year. And I'm really bad with new releases. I usually just get to them when they're released. So usually I don't really hear about them before that. But a book I've been waiting for a very long time is Bloodmarked. This is the sequel to Legendborn, and I think it is supposed to come out later in the year. And I'm very excited because I need a sequel to Legendborn. That was one of my favorite books of 2020, I think. So yeah, very excited. And another book is called 1,000,000 to 1, and that is the new book by Adiba Jaigirdar. And I'm also very excited for that one because it sounds really, really fun. It sounds like a I think a fantasy that celebrates women. I don't know if there's some pirates in there or if I'm making that up right now, but I remember that when I heard the pitch for this book, I was like, I really want to read that. It sounds so much fun. Next question is biggest surprise of the year so far, and both of these were library books, and it's always a little bit weird to say books surprise you because you know, you go into books hoping you like them, but these were two books where I thought they would be fine and fun, but I ended up loving them. And the first one is the biggest surprise because that was An Enchantment of Ravens. Now this is a fantasy romance, and that's a genre I never read. I am not a romance reader, so I don't know why I picked that book up from the library, but I did for some reason. I think I wanted to read it in the fall last year, but then I had such a huge stack of library books that it didn't really end up being that way. But yeah, I loved that book. It was so much fun. And I actually liked the romance, which is unheard of, but I did. And the other surprise for me was Conjure Woman. This is a book about slavery time and the period right after slavery was abolished in the States. And I was pretty sure I would like this book, but I ended up really, really loving it. I actually gave it 5 stars, which did surprise me in the end. And I think that also some of the plot points were quite surprising to me. And it had a lot of like buzzwords that I absolutely love. So yeah, it ended up being so much better than I thought it would be. And then we have the biggest disappointments, and both of these I spent my hard-earned money on, so they were disappointing. And the first one was Cherish Farah. This is supposed to be a social horror story about 2 young girls. They're both black. One is growing up with her parents and the other one was adopted by a white family. They're all super wealthy, but something is going on. I really thought this would be amazing. I really enjoyed the previous books I had read by Bethany C. Morrow, but this one just did not work for me, and I was so sad because, as I said, I love horror stories, and yeah, it didn't work for me. The other one, it wasn't that bad, but it still disappointed me because it was a 5-star prediction, and that was Wild Women and the Blues by Denny S. Bryce. Unfortunately, I wanted this to be 5 stars. It only ended up being a 3.5-star read for me. I thought that the duo timeline thing in this historical fiction didn't really work for me that well. I would have liked it so much more if it would have just been the historical fiction aspect of it and the kind of now timeline completely dropped. There were a couple of other things that bothered me a little bit with this, but that was just the main thing. And I was expecting a little bit something different from what I got. So the next question is a favorite new author, and that could be a debut author or a new to me author, and I'm gonna go with N.K. Jemisin. As I said, I read the Broken Earth trilogy and I'm already excited to go into her next books. So I've just seen that the city we've become, whatever that book is called, is just a duology, so I hope that I could read that very soon. But she also has some other series that are completed that I can get into, so that's super exciting. Another author where I can totally see that it will probably be a favorite author for me is Robin Hobb. I've just read her first book in the realm of the Elderling series, that is Assassin's Apprentice, but I already really loved that book, so I think I will continue reading that series, and I will probably love all the other books as well. I was just apprehensive going into this first book because it follows a young boy and it sounds like a very traditional fantasy setting, which is not my favorite, but I think the character studies in this book are so good that I didn't really mind that the setting was kind of basic. Okay, the next question is newest fictional crush. And I'm gonna go with the book Girl, Serpent, Thorn, which is still hard to say for me. I really enjoyed the love interest of Parvane in this book. She is a div, so a kind of demon, and she is just great. She's just the kind of demon girlfriend I would like to have. I love her. Yeah, it's just exactly the kind of character that I would crush on, and I loved her, and I would protect her with anything that I have. And then we have new favorite character. The first one would be Sunja in Pachinko. She's kind of the main character, even though this follows her whole family dynamic, but she is in some way the matriarch, but not really. I'm doing a bad job describing her, but her character was amazing. I rooted for her the whole time. She was flawed, but she was perfect, and that's the kind of main characters that I enjoy. Similarly, we have Wen in the Greenbone saga. Now, Wen is a side character, but whenever she was on page, she was the best thing in the whole series. There were a couple of very dramatic things happening to her, and I was like freaking out, like literally freaking out. I was like, if anything happens to her, I'm gonna get the hell out of here. So Wen was amazing. She is also that more motherly figure, but not really. Again, she has her flaws, but she's also perfect. And there is a couple of moments in the series where her character shines so bright, and I love her. My last favorite character is Rue from A Conjure Woman, and she is also fantastic. She's also a strong young woman. She is the healer, but also kind of the witch of the community, and she is struggling with things. And yeah, I really enjoyed Rue. I thought she was a great main character as well. The next question is a book that made you cry, and I tried to remember which books actually made me cry, and I'm not quite sure if that's all of them, but that's the ones that came to my mind. The first one was There by Tommy Orange. I remember sobbing at the end. There were some very traumatic things happening at the end. Then the Broken Earth trilogy. I remember definitely crying in the first one and in the last one. Probably also in the second one, let's be real. I'm also pretty sure I cried in Pachinko, but I don't remember so well, to be honest. Then I definitely cried in Jade Legacy by Fonda Lee. This is probably the book that made me cry the most tears. I was a mess, and I actually filmed it for the vlog, so if you're interested, you can watch my Greenbone Saga vlog and see me tear up. Then we have Heimat by Nora Krug. This definitely gave me some feels, and some of those were tear-worthy. This was just a very interesting exploration of German families. And then we have The Henna Wars, which actually made me cry when I wanted to go to sleep. And I was not grateful for that, to be honest. But it is a good book. Then we have a book that made you happy, and the number one spot of that goes to The Last Smile in Thunder City. I'm currently reading the sequel, Dead Man in a Ditch, and I read Last Smile in Thunder City at the beginning of the year, so that was what was kind of carrying me over from 2021 to 2022. And as you may know, my cat died in the end of 2021, and so The Last Mile in Thunder City was definitely the book that kind of helped me just keeping functioning into the beginning of the year. And it was a book that definitely brought me some joy. I also started watching The Wolf Among Us Let's Play by Life Summer during that time, because it definitely has those vibes, and so that was what kind of helped me keep going. And as I said, I'm currently reading the second book in the series, and this is also bringing me joy, but also some pain. So yeah, I did cry last night a little bit. We'll see about that. And then the other book that brought me joy and made me happy was The Color of Magic by Terry Pratchett. And this has some very, very funny moments in it, and I did enjoy that a lot. I also have a reading vlog for that if you're interested. Then we have the most beautiful book bought or received this year. Now all of these I have received as gifts. The first one, I really love this cover. This is Cursed Bunny by Bora Chung, and this is a short story collection by a Korean author, but I love the cover. I won this in a giveaway by Tracy, so I was very, very happy to win this book, and I think it's stunning. Then I have the book that my best friend gave me for my birthday, and this doesn't look like much, but it has an octopus on the cover, and they're my favorite animals. Like, you can't see that right now, but behind me is a huge picture that a friend of mine painted for me, and it is an octopus, so that made me very, very happy. Then again, I'm mentioning Heimat by Nora Krug. This is a book that is also pretty stunning inside. It has like wonderful, wonderful pictures in it. And it's a little bit scrapbooky, so you have like drawings, but also pictures and stuff like that. So yeah, stunning, a beautiful book. I got this for Easter from my mom. And then also from my mom, I think I got this because I wished for it. That's Queer Love in Color by Jamal Jordan. And this is more of a coffee table book, but it features, yeah, queer couples of color all over the world. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed this. I think it's just, yeah. I read one of the couple stories in here, and it also made me cry. So yeah, I'm very, very happy to have this, and I hope I find time this month to read some more. And the last question is, what books do you want to read by the end of the year? Now, I do have these two lists with books that I wanted to read. I have one list with 5 books of authors I wanted to try this year, and one list with 5 series I wanted to read this year. Now, on the series list, I still have the Devabad trilogy, the Poppy War trilogy, and the Diviners series. And on the author list, I still have Kindred and Beloved. So those are the books that I will definitely prioritize. And apart from that, there's obviously tons of other books I would like to read. You can watch my seasonal TBRs to see lists of that. I will have just uploaded my summer TBR. So yeah, those are books I want to read this year. And that's it for this tag. I hope you enjoyed it. I think pretty much everyone has done it already. So yeah, it's really fun, it's really cool. And I hope you give it a like or a nice comment, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!